Good evening. I am Tilak De Silla. Today we discuss about the information and communication technology related to a B paper. Let us see why we want this knowledge, information and communication technology. Is this only for the IT people, computing people, telecommunication people? No, this is for all engineers. All engineers nowadays should have some idea about the ICT, because without ICT we cannot survive, because ICT is a tool. If you use that tool, you can easily do some work. If you don't use that tool, you have to do a lot of hard working, and it will increase your stress also. It is just like uh, suppose you are going a journey, so you can walk, or you can go by bicycle, or you can go by car. If you go by car, you can go faster, but only thing is you should know how to drive the car. You have to learn how to drive the car. It takes some time. After you learn that one, you can go fast. ICT also like that. If you know about the ICT, then your things can be made easy. You can do things very fast. You can save a lot of your time. Now you have a normal life. Now suppose you have to do a credit card payment. Normally you have to go to the bank and do the payment. How much time take for that turn? Go to bank, you may go to the CDM machine and use that turn. If you don't use that also, you have to go to the queue and go and pay that. So considerable time you have to spend for that turn. If you use the ICT, how long it takes? Within few minutes. So see, it's very accurate and very fast. So if you want to use utility bills, you can easily pay online for that. From all these things, we can save our time. So things can be do with quality. So all engineering disciplines also like that. Now, what is the objective of B paper for this ICT part? It is not the in detail ICT. So you should know something about the ICT when you are doing your work. You should know about the technology and features of ICT. You should have some knowledge on IT. You should have knowledge on communication. And what are the emerging technologies? And IP application of ICT for your job and your discipline. You should have some idea about these things. These are the things we are expecting from the B paper. Now let us see IT technologies. What are the things you should know about the IT technologies? Say hardware. You don't want to, suppose you are civil engineer, you don't want to know in-depth knowledge about the hardware. You should know at least what kind of processors nowadays we are using for the laptop. For the, what is the process nowadays using? We can have i3, i7 like that. So at least we should know that. And if you want to do something at your office, you may need a server. What kind of server you need? Or are we going to use the servers? Instead of servers, can you use something else? Because if you are going to use a server to keep your whole stuff there, database, software, everything, then you have to purchase a server. You have to keep it in a air conditioned room. You need an IT person to administrate that one. Then you have to pay for the license fee for that one, operating system license fee. Right? You have to have a hardware maintenance agreement with the vendor. That kind of cost is coming. Do you have any other alternative for this one? For hardware. One alternative is you can hire the hardware from a service provider. So you know about the data centers. Now almost all our telecommunication service providers have their data centers, especially the leading telecommunication service providers. So you can ask a server from their data center. You can have physical server there. They maintain all these things. Air condition, the backup, everything they will maintain. Uh, the better way is, economical way is, you may not need a physical server there. You can get a virtual server from them. When you get a virtual server, you may ask what is the processing power you need, how much RAM you need. These things you can ask. So if you get a virtual server means there are maybe 1 or 2, 3 or several servers. So it is virtually one server. One portion is given to you. It is shared by so many people. So if we get that service, virtual server, that cost is less. That cost is less. So you can get the hardware from your data center, maybe a virtual server. Then you have to have your software and database. So everything you need database these days. You have to maintain your database there. If it is a say irrigation engineer, he may have to maintain his all data about the reservoirs and some statistical data. So many things he has to maintain. Why? Because here he can analyze those things and get very good information, management information from that. Then you need the application software. You have the hardware, you can have the database there, then you can have the application software to apply those things. So these things we can have in your on top of your hardware, inside your hardware. Then other method is rather than getting the cloud, the servers, virtual server, whatever thing, you can go to the cloud computing. You should have some idea about what is cloud computing. You don't want to have the in-depth knowledge. You should know the applications. Even the clouds are there, public cloud, private cloud, like that. So in the public cloud, you get a portion of that cloud. It is shared. Private cloud means that is only for you. You have some information in your organization, you have to keep them very confidentially. So therefore, sometimes it is not advisable to go to even private cloud. You may have your own hardware and keep it there. For instance, your trade secrets. So if you have a competitor, you have the secrets there, trade secrets. You can keep those there. Therefore, you should have idea, okay, shall I go to the cloud computing or private cloud, or public cloud? Which one we are going to use? So because the cloud is again just like the virtual server. When you go to the cloud, you can not only the hardware, you can get hardware as a service. You can have your database also there. You can have your application software also there. So the cloud is very cheap. Now if you need say particular application, if you go to a cloud-based application, you don't have the hardware cost, software cost, license cost, the annual maintenance cost. Those things you don't have. You have to pay a monthly subscription fee only. So therefore nowadays we have lot of cloud computing software is there. So we had a wild apricot membership management system in ISL. So it was implemented when I was president in 2013. So it was a cloud-based one, but recently it was changed. So the cloud-based one operation is very easy, and also the cost also very less. Therefore, when you need some software, think about the cloud-based softwares. whether cloud is available, then get that one. But not for everything, but you have to analyze those things. So don't depend on only the IT people. As engineers, you should have some idea about this IT knowledge. So then you don't want to go to in-depth application side. You should know. Then I mentioned here the big data analytics. You have a lot of information. If you analyze this information, you can get lot of management information. You can plan the things properly. Suppose the flooding, if an engineers are planning to do something for the floods, if they can get about the 100 years about data, then you can see what is the pattern of the floods is coming. So you can very accurately predict when the next flood is coming, what is the maximum height it can be. So many things we can analyze in that way. So are you using that technology in your job? Think about these things. So the big data analytics and artificial intelligence. Now everything is coming with the artificial intelligence. Even your phone is having the artificial intelligence. So when you are typing something, when you type one letter, he knows what is your complete word. He suggests you, okay, is this which word you are selecting, this one, like that. Some kind of artificial intelligence is there. So therefore, these days many things are coming with the artificial intelligence. So advantage of that one is, otherwise you have to spend your whole intelligence to there. If artificial intelligence can do the 80% of the work, you have to spend your intelligence only 20%. Then you don't have much stress. But you should know how to apply that. It is just like the driving, how to know drive. So if you know driving, you can go faster. Not only these IT technologies, there are so many IT technologies, but you should have some idea about those things. Then communication. Now we are connecting everything, we are networking everything. About 50 years back, we had only standalone computers. So we cannot remotely access those things. Now we are connecting everything. Our life needs the connectivity. If we don't have our connectivity, we will feel something that we are just like alone. Now suppose you forget your mobile phone today when you are coming from home. How do you feel it? How do you feel? So you are very upset because your connectivity is lost. Right? So you have to check whether your children came from school. So if there any problem, your wife or husband should be able to inform you. So if the connectivity is there, virtually you are together. So therefore, these days, connectivity is a must. It's a fundamental right of the people. So we need the voice connectivity. So we need the SMS connectivity. Now you see the SMS, how useful that one. Even you have a very important meeting, you can communicate very important message without interrupting to the meeting. Right? That is also connectivity. Other thing is the internet. So if we don't have internet, how do you feel? If you cannot use your email, how do you feel? So therefore, connectivity is very, very important these days. Now during the corona time, corona peak time, if the connectivity was not there, what happened? So we will be alone. So thanks to the connectivity, most of our jobs could be continued. So if we could not continue our jobs, we can't get our income also. So many things can be interrupted. So therefore, connectivity is very, very important for our life. Without connectivity, we cannot live. So when you talk about the connectivity, broadband. So broadband means a bigger bandwidth. or you should have the idea about what is bandwidth, because our signals are going as bits, digital signals, ones and zeros. How many bits are going in 1 second? It's just like passing the vehicles. We are counting how many vehicles are going in 1 second. Like that, how many bits are passing through the network? That is the bit rate. So bit rate we are measuring bits per second. If it is 1000 bits per second, we call kilobit per second. If it is 1 million bit per second, it is megabit per second. Then another 1000 times, that is 10 to the power 9 gigabit per second, terabit per second. Likewise, we have the different speeds. So when it is come to around megabit per second, we call it is broadband. Those days we use the kilobit per second. Now we cannot work with them kilobit per second. We need at least megabit per second. So we can get the broadband connectivity from the landline, your normal telephone line, that is ADSL connections. You can get ADSL connection. There you can go about 20 megabit per second speed through the ADSL. 20 megabit per second speed. How much speed you need for your home? It depends on the number of applications we are using. What are the applications we are using? Voice. Voice, how much bandwidth is required normally? It needs about 4 kilohertz, very small bandwidth. Earlier through the copper wire only this 4 kilohertz went. So voice need only a very small bandwidth, that is 4 kilohertz. Now we are sending our internet traffic also through our copper wire. Internet traffic also. You go to a website or some other application. So that is we call the broadband normally. For that also you need some megabits per second speed, because lot of information going through that one. You may access a particular web and you download something. You may go to the YouTube, you watch something. So the video needs much bandwidth. Why? Bandwidth depends on the number of information. Now when you see a color picture, it has color information, it has the brightness information, and it is we define from the pixels, number of pixels. So it can be 700 something plus 1000 something, that is, say, we call the standard definitions, and we have the high definitions. High definition is 4 times the standard definitions, number of pixels. So then you have the 4K, that is, it's called the ultra definition also. So when you take a camera, you have the megapixels. So you have the 6 megapixels, 10 megapixels, like that. Depending on the number of pixels, so each pixel need say 16-bit information. Each pixel. If there are 1000 pixels, 1000 into 16-bit. So that much of memory is required. So when the number of pixels are increasing. So not only pixel, you have to give some value for the color also. Different colors. All these are information. So therefore, when it is coming to the images, it needs more. It has more information. That means it needs more memory. If you store, if you travel that one, you need more bandwidth. If it is video, it is changing. So you need more bandwidth for that one. So the images and video, you need more bandwidth. So then your telephone line, you have also the voice. Voice need about 4 kilohertz. So you need your internet and other traffic. That is, you may need about say 1 megabit per second. What else is coming through your telephone line? TV. Now TV also coming to the telephone line. So the IPTV. So normal analog TV needs about 5 megahertz bandwidth. Normal analog TV needs about 5 megahertz bandwidth. So when you calculate the how much bit rate required for the TV signal, it may come to about several gigabit per second, very large amount. But we have different encoding methods to compress this data compression methods are there. I am not going to discuss detail these things. From that way it is reduced. So therefore from several megabits per second speed we can send the TV signal also. Right? So all these are digital signals, they are traveling. For these things we need the broadband. So normal TV channel, normal internet connectivity, normal voice, this ADSL connection is sufficient. It can go about 20 megabit per second speed. So when you come to the fiber has enormous bandwidth, very large bandwidth. The fiber connection you are getting from the service provider nowadays is we have download speed of 100 megabit per second. It's a huge bandwidth. So we say the base, sometimes we say the bandwidth, sometimes the bit rate. Both are same in normal when we normally talk these things, but correct word is the bit rate actually, right? So fiber we have download speed 100 megabit per second, right? So why I mention here download is, are we doing any uploading also? If you are using the cloud, YouTube also cloud. If you want to upload something to you, if you want to put something to YouTube, you can create your own YouTube channel and upload your things there. So that is uploading. So you need some speed for the upload also. Now unfortunately, this ADSL upload speed is very low. But when you come to the fiber, its upload speed is 50 megabit per second. Fiber upload speed is 50 megabit per second. Download is 100 megabit per second. So if you have many uploads, sometimes your children will do the homework and they want to upload it to the school server. Then you need some upload speed. So in that case, this fiber is very good because the fiber has a very high upload speed. But if you don't use much upload speed, and if you are using the normal IPTV and those things, ADSL is more than enough. So the no advantage of going for the fiber, because the required bandwidth depend on the application. But there are some advantages when you go to the fiber, but in the point of view of the bandwidth, there is no advantage. So then you have the ADSL, you have the fiber, but if you go for, suppose you have a Netflix subscribe to, I hope you know what is Netflix. So if you want to see a movie, you can get a Netflix subscription, then you can see any type of movie. So they have standard definition TV movies, they have the high definition movies and also 4K movies. But if you get the ADSL connection, you cannot, it is difficult to see the high definition TV, high definition video channels. You need high bandwidth. In that case, the fiber is the best. If you want to see the high definition movie, you should have high bandwidth as well as you have a high definition TV at home. Both should be there. If your TV is not high definition, no point of getting the high definition service. If your TV is 4K, then you can watch the 4K movies also. But if your TV is very small, there is no difference between the SD, HD or 4K, because the number of pixels, even you increase in a small screen, there is no difference. So these things you have to understand. When you go to a very big screen, the number of pixels is a matter. So the ADSL, fiber, then the mobile. You can get the connectivity from mobile also. Mobile, you know, 3G, 4G, 5G. What are the meaning of that one? mobile G means what? What is this G? Generations. It's a generation. First generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation. Now, normally every 10 years one generation is coming. The first generation came in 1980s. Second generation came in 1990s. Third generation came in 2000s. Fourth generation came in 2010. And fifth generation is coming in 2020. So that is the normal pattern. Then you should have some idea what are the differences with these generations. No need in-depth idea. So first generation, you remember this Gadol bag size, very big phone. So you need somebody to carry that phone. So only for the voice communication. That when it comes to the second generation, you could get the internet connectivity, but not very speed. But you got the SMS came with the second generation. When it is going to the third generation, it's IP based, internet protocol based. So then the internet connectivity could be also, we could get through that one. Then the internet based, so many applications came, but problem is speed was not sufficient. When you come to the 4G, now LTE is a 4G technology, long term evolution. So it has sufficient speed. So then the telephones also, mobile phones also developed. Now we have the smartphones. Through the smartphone, we can go to the internet, we can go to the different applications, mobile apps are there. We can easily use these things through our phone. So when it is coming to the fifth generation, it takes about another 2 years to come to fifth generation, actual fifth generation. So it's a tremendous difference is there, because you know IoT, Internet of Things, these are sensors. So I discuss IoT separately. We can have many sensors in our systems. So if you have the sensor, you can get the information from there. Suppose in the agriculture, each and every crop, if you have sensor, you can get many information about that crop. Water, fertilizer, so many things. So if you have suppose athlete, if your athlete has the athlete kit with the sensors, so many things can be monitored in his body. Heartbeat and how much he inclined when he is running, so many things can be done. So when you have in the vehicle, if you have sensors, now the new vehicles are coming with thousands of sensors. So everything is reported to you. If there is something having a fault, if it is about to come a fault, it will be informed you. Apart from that, when it is closer to service, you may automatically inform you. And if the oil level is less, that is automatically inform you. For all these things, you have the IoT sensors. So these sensors need the connectivity. So it's called the Internet of Things, because earlier internet was connected only for the computers. Now internet is connecting everything. When you see a pantry, your fridge can be connected to the internet now. Through the IoT, you have the smart fridges. The word we are using the smart for that. Through your app, mobile phone app, you can control that. You have the washing machine, smart washing machines. So you can remotely control these things, because it has the sensors. Through the sensors, we are connected to the internet. When it is connected to the internet, even you are in the 1,000 kilometers away, you can control that. Now, when the things are connected, Internet of Things, when the things are connected, maybe billions of things are connected to the internet. Now we need to provide a connectivity to the internet. How do you provide the connectivity? We can provide the connectivity through ADSL, fiber, mobile, but these things cannot be connected with the wire. It should be wireless. These wireless connections are called Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, that kind of things. Then these IoTs are connected through wireless. It is connecting through the wireless. So if you have Wi-Fi zone here, these IoT sensors can be connected through those Wi-Fi sensors. So therefore, you should have some idea about the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. So suppose you have a laptop, then you don't have internet in a particular area, but your mobile phone has the data. So you can connect through the internet, through the mobile phone you can connect to the internet. So that's the importance of the Wi-Fi. Now, if you want to cover a large area, suppose there are thousands of cattle are there, you want to sense them, you want to get their information, then difficult to have Wi-Fi zone. In that case, the 5G will be very, very useful. So 5G will connect things to the mobile network along with the IoT. So therefore, 5G will do a very big revolution, and it is as a very large bandwidth, just like the fiber. So then you should know the local area network, wide area network. Your office is connected with the local area network cables, so that you can have the wireless local area network, that is called the Wi-Fi, and your officers are connected throughout the country, can be connected to the wide area network. Then how do you connect them? Earlier we connected through the service provider lease lines. Now we can connect through the MPLS, that is the cheaper connectivity from the service provider, that is called the MPLS, multi-protocol label switching. But now it is that also not necessary. If you have the internet connectivity, through internet you can get the connection. These are called VPN connections, virtual private network connections. So it is secure and cheaper. So your all branches can be connected through the internet by using the VPN connections. But these are not in-depth technology, but you should have some idea. Sometimes you may need to connect the branches. What is the cheaper way to connect the branches? So if you have some idea, then you can discuss with the service provider and get their solution. But then you can judge those solutions if you have some idea. Then you should have the idea about new technologies. You should be in touch with what are the new technologies are coming. Now, I just today morning I got this one, top 10 emerging technologies of 2019. You don't want to see the same website, but when you say what are the 10 or the latest technologies, you can find out easily from this through the internet. You can see one is the IoT. I just told you about the IoT. IoT is a driving business change by providing the data needed to improve marketing, increase sales, and decrease cost. And the report found everybody in the technology world, as well as many consumers, is hearing the term Internet of Things. Frank Ramode, a member of the CompTIA Emerging Technology Community Leadership Group, who works in strategic channel and business development for said in press release. However, uh, to say it's confusing and overwhelming and understand, he added IoT may mean many things to many people, but it can clearly mean incremental or new business to a channel partner if they start adding relevant IoT solutions with their existing and new customers. So every area you can use the IoT. Civil engineering you can use the IoT. In the building services, building maintenance. There some areas you cannot access there easily. Then you can use the IoT sensors and get that information. And the power consumption of building. So each and every the every air condition or any other item, you can put the IoT sensor and get say how much power is it consuming. Then if there's any item is the any device is consuming more power, you can check why it is happening. Likewise, so the IoT can use for all kind of fields nowadays. Then artificial intelligence. Uh, Larger impacts of all industries from retail to healthcare, hospitality to finance are felt when AI improves their data security, decision making speed and accuracy, and employee output and training. So just the study about these things, you can see your area also, your discipline also, these things can be applied. Then 5G, I just mentioned about the 5G. Then another new thing is the serverless computing. So the serverless computer allows the organization to create no-ops IT environment that is automated and abstracted from underlying infrastructure, reducing operational cost and allowing business to invest in developing new capabilities that add more value. The report found serverless computer was new on the list this year. Then blockchain. Another one is a blockchain. Blockchain came down, crushing from its peak. Okay, I don't know. Read. Just see these things. Robotics, automatic routing processes by using machines to make business faster, less expensive, and more efficient and report the more expensive. So we know the office automation, the factory automation is happening now. So you have the robot. So this is not a normal people like robot. Many the equipment are coming as robots. So then the things are getting cheaper and accurate, and you can do the business very faster and efficient. Think about your discipline also, how the robotics can be used. Then biometric, including face, fingerprint and retina scans are becoming mainstream methods for verifying identity. Then another interesting one is a 3D printing. 3D printing, you can print any device you need by using the 3D printer. And virtual reality and augmented reality. And drones. So drones are very, very useful things. Say the electricity board. So if you say 132 kV line, they want to do the maintenance. Rather than a person is going up to there, they can send the drone and see what is happening there, and they can observe the things from there. So the drones are using almost everywhere. So and also robots are used. The robots are used. So where we cannot reach, human being cannot reach, we can send a robot there. We have seen even the corona time also. So bring the medicine to the corona patients, they use the robots. So think about these new technologies. So you have to be in touch with these new technologies. Next is the technology for day-to-day work. technology we have to use for your day-to-day work also. That technology may be not very sophisticated technology. Suppose you have 5 persons are there, you want to have about 15-minute discussion. What is the easiest way to do that? 5 persons want to have discussion. Zoom. Suppose you don't have the laptop also, somebody is traveling now. Yeah, conference call. Very simple. So it's very fast. So you can easily have a conference call. See, it's a small application. But you should know at what time we have to, which occasion you have to apply that. You don't want to go to Zoom every time. Right? But if you want to show something to somebody and you want to collaborate your work there, and you can show something and ask, okay, I have done this one, is it okay? In that case, Zoom is very useful. Because you need the video also. Otherwise, you don't know the Zoom. So, nowadays everybody know about the Zoom. So we have many meetings from the video conferencing. But sometimes but again, the way we have to use these online technologies is not like the normal the physical way. So if you want to have a Zoom meeting, the virtual meeting, you have to get ready for that. You have to plan it, right? Okay, these are the documents I am going to use. Suppose you are the chair. So I chaired so many meetings. Then I have to get ready several hours before the meeting. I did the teaching also, lectures also through the Zoom. Okay, this is the first one I am going to use. Okay, sometimes you can keep it minimized and keep it that. So they have properly planned that. And also, if somebody wants to ask a question, they can raise the hand. Otherwise, everybody is talking, then it is as normal physical meeting. Sometimes it's not productive. So, but you should know when you want the conference call, when you need the Zoom meeting, when you need the physical meeting. Sometimes physical meeting also important. Why? Because if it's a very serious matter to be discussed, sometimes your facial expression also very important. So for the day to day, you have to use the technology, but you have to use the appropriate technology for that one. So collaborative software is very important. You know the Basecamp. So if you want to plan your work and you want to discuss each other and you want to give okay, you do this one, you do this one, you have to finish this by date. These are called to-do list. You can create the to-do list and put it to the Basecamp. Then you can monitor those things. And also we can have the discussions there. So it's a collaborative software. So therefore we don't have the physically meet those things. We don't have even the Zoom meeting. You have to the real time you have to be available there. But if you use the Basecamp, you can put somebody's comments there. Then another person maybe in the mid time he is free. He can put his comment there. So this collaborative software is very, very powerful. But we don't use unfortunately these things, right? And the project management, you can collaboratively with the projects and the share documents preparing. So everybody can use those things together. So if you use the collaborative software, that will be very, very useful. Then you are managers in your organizations and you have to apply this technology to increase your productivity. One thing is the work from home. Work from home. Most of the jobs we can do from home rather than coming to the office. Many jobs we can do. So that not 100%, but most of the things we can do at home. Suppose especially in the IT field, they don't want to come to the office at all. From home they can do, right? So if you are handling some faults, you don't want to come there. you can remotely see these things and give the remotely operate these things. So in your office also, when you want to do the work from home, even you want to do that one, but there are some challenges. What are the challenges you have? In some offices, you need the attendance there. They have to sign or you have to give the fingerprint there. Then what is the solution for that? Suppose it's must, they say. What you can do? You are the managers. You can change these rules. You can change the rules. You can apply the work from home. You can say, okay, these people can do the work from home. This is the process of doing the work from home. First, identify what are the things we are going to do at home. Right? You discuss with your supervisor. Then you do at home. After finishing this one, your supervisor should be able to monitor that. You can have some kind of process like that. Then you can implement that. So therefore, if all Sri Lanka is using this work from home, no need 100%, maybe 2 days work from home. What you need to do the work from home? What are the resources you need? You need your computer, you need your internet connectivity only. But you have to plan these things properly. Right? So then you can have process, and you can say that how the attendance is managed there. Right? If somebody is doing the work from home, so you can have separate register for that one. He will write, okay, this date I am working from home, this time to this time. And then they have a record of what they are going to do. Then after finishing that one, the supervisor will check whether it is completed. Then it is approved there. These things also can be done online. You don't have to write anything also. But these things are to be planned. So therefore, this work from home is a very good concept where you can think about that and apply these things. Because if all engineers are applying these things in the offices, it is a solution for the transport problem also. Suppose the 20% of the people are working from home, the required transport also 20% we can reduce. If the transport is reduced, the environment pollution also reduced, and the cost for the fuel also reduced. So many things can be done. So therefore, just think about this work from home concept and use the virtual meeting and the collaborative software. So this collaborative software is very, very effective. So you can plan the things. Now when you are in the meetings, always you have the minutes of the meeting. When the next time it is started, you go through the minutes and have you done this one? Yes, I tried to do this one, but because of this problem it was failed. Right? Our people have so many excuses. They know how to manage that one, but finally there is less productivity. But if you have the collaborative software, you say, okay, this is the target date to do this one. If that person has some problem, they can put it there in the discussion. Okay, I have this problem. Then his supervisor can see that and give him a solution rather than waiting for the next meeting. So therefore, these collaborative methods are very, very effective. So unfortunately, our people are not using these things. People are not use the computer and the internet and go to this kind of things. So although you have very good knowledge, we are using the traditional method for this thing. Still you have the minutes. So when I had my meetings, I didn't have sometimes minutes. I give the target, okay, you do this one. Next time I will check whether it was done or not. So if you have any problem, please ask from me. So they can be easily contact me. So if somebody call me, I normally ask. The connectivity is very important. If I cannot answer, then I will inform him. I will go back him. If somebody send the text, I the answered it, and I check the WhatsApp also, and even I use the Facebook also, because there are very good information is there. Now, yesterday, day before yesterday, I went for funeral. That day morning, when I was checking the WhatsApp messages, I saw my friend, he put a message, my father expired, and I planned that one. So even the Facebook, you can see so many new things, all are information. So having the connectivity is very important to share our information. Now, this technology for day-to-day work, you think about that term, because this will make our life very easy. Now, there are software to schedule your meetings. Suppose if you want to schedule a meeting for 15 persons, so your personal assistant may call all these 15 persons and check what is the possible time there. But there is software called Doodle. If the person who initiates the meeting, he can put the possible time slots there. Then the others can go there and check these are the possible time slot to me. Then automatically we can think about what is the best time slot for this meeting. You can save a lot of time from there. So therefore, using the technology for day-to-day work, you think about that one, and think about the collaborative software, virtual meetings, and work from home. Definitely these things will increase your productivity. Then finally, the technology for your discipline is the last slide. Technology for your discipline. That means if you are civil engineer, what are the IT based technologies you can use? Not only the IT based, you can think about your new technologies. So I got this one for the civil engineering actually. So top 8 upcoming development and trends in civil engineering for 2018 and beyond. Virtual reality and augmented reality will become mainstream. Here it is explained how the virtual reality and the augmented reality can be applied for civil engineering. So I am not going to read this one. I will just read part. Virtual reality and augmented reality are the newest trends in civil engineering to watch out for. Although the technology itself is new, its applicability, civil and construction industry is gaining immense popularity. Now, who are the civil engineers here? Now you can think about this, how I can apply virtual reality and augmented reality in the civil engineering. Okay? These are not very sophisticated theories, but you can use these things. Then building information modeling. Building information modeling will be used in large scale applications. Most civil engineering projects this year are likely to see large scale utilization of the cloud technology and big data. Also, latest in the list of innovation is the building information modeling. Engineers can now create virtual models of their designs through intelligent 3D modeling process. You see, intelligent 3D modeling process. You may already know about 3D modeling, but it's coming with now intelligent. This futuristic technology can speed up the time taken to turn building drawings into reality. Construction of bridges, electricity networks, and superstructures can gain momentum with workable virtual models of the designs. As the BIM and 3D modeling provides engineers a chance to visualize completed designs at the onset, the design process is poised to cost efficient and more streamlined in the future. Now these things are there. Now we have the engineers, the who are handling the traffic, right? The the roads and the traffic. Now these days some changes are doing in the the lane discipline. Now there are so many problems we are facing, but it's good we have do some changes, and then only we can achieve something. But problem is, have they used the technology for that? Because these things can be simulated. You can simulate and see what are the repercussions are coming there, what kind of problems can come there, rather than put it to the practice and see the now today I took the 35 minutes to pass Paradura city. So then my whole plan is upset. Because the maximum we can give 15 minutes, but if we give 35, so the my time schedules are upset. Right? So I had a live radio program today. Luckily I came very early. Otherwise, I could not come to that turn on time. So now see, the technology is there. Are they simulating these things? And the traffic engineering is doing by the engineers actually. So they can guide the others, police and other people, because they are the technical people. Are these traffic are synchronizing? For the what I observed in the today morning traffic is, I don't know whether I am correct, but they haven't identified what is the traffic flow into which area is more traffic. So the by road they have to stop, and they have to synchronize this one. If the traffic is flowed within few minutes, that can be completed, then they can allow the by roads to come. Then again the same thing can be repeated. That's what I was thinking. I don't know whether I am correct, but these things can be simulated and see. And also traffic light can be synchronized. So if we do these things, how much time is we are saving our people? So how much the unnecessary cost of fuel is we are saving? This is not anybody else's job, it is our engineer's job. So think about the new technologies, irrigation, agriculture. Do we need this much of water for the agriculture these days? Drip engineering. So if our engineers can show within a very small amount of water we can do this one, so that is the effective utilization of the resources. So when you give the oath as the chartered engineers, you say that you will do the effective utilization of the planet resources, because these resources are limited. If we consume all these resources in our generation, our future generation does not have these things. So therefore, these technologies can be used for the effective utilization of our resources. That is our duty as engineers. So therefore, just change the way we are working and think about the new technologies. Demand for sustainable designs will rise. Drones will remain a mainstay. Drone market has been a steady growth in 2000. The trend is expected to continue even commercial drones. Commercial drones have reached an important milestone with technological enhancement making drones more reliable than before. Drones are steadily making its presence felt in civil engineering industry, greatly influencing the design, development and surveying of civil engineering projects. So that is, you can use the drones, design, development and surveying of civil engineering projects. How many of our civil engineering projects are using these drones? Drones are not costly. Drones are instrumental in carrying out safety inspections along with progress reporting. Drones effortlessly access hazardous sections. We cannot reach some hazardous, but drones can effortlessly reach there of the construction and collect data from large areas in a matter of minutes. This technology has allowed surveyors to get the job done without risking life and limb. So then you have the advanced building materials will shape the civil engineering design of the future. Then the Internet of Things. Let us see how the Internet of Things can be used for the civil engineering. So Internet of Things will be is a mega trend which is quickly reshape the way in which civil engineering projects are implemented. In a nutshell, IoT leverages sensors and network connectivity to allow communication between the interconnected sensors. The sheer volume of data being exchanged is collected and analyzed to enhance future decisions. Not only civil engineering, other disciplines also can be used. The IoT will play a leading role in monitoring the health of urban structures by pooling big data from the building management system. It will be capable of recording data such as variations in concrete humidity, vibrations, chloride content, and even abnormal deformations. Even abnormal deformations. So the building collapses, these things can be avoided. The lengthy list of things IoT can effectively is gradually growing thanks to cheap wireless sensors. You see the wireless sensors. Again, the connectivity comes to the sea. It is one of the latest upcoming trends that will give rise to smart cities and improve the quality of life of its inhabitants. So you might heard about the smart cities. Everything is coming smart. When you say the smart, definitely IoT is there. Smart car parking, smart garbage collection systems. So all these things are coming with the IoT. Then 3D printing is expected the most significant impact in civil engineering. See, the year 2000 witnessed the surge in the demand for 3D printing across various domains. In 2000, this revolution has reached construction and civil engineering in a big way. 3D printing can turn engineering design into scale models or even real components required for building construction. This technology, currently in the advanced stage, is ready to take on more complex civil engineering challenges involving full-size homes and bridges. So 3D printing can be used to have full-size homes and bridges. Scientists are contemplating the use of 3D printing for assisting humanity's effort to colonize Mars. Without doubt, this is one of the most exciting upcoming trends in civil engineering. Then, robot may take up mundane civil engineering tasks. Robots in the construction industry are taking over tasks that are hazardous to humans. Are we using this thing? No. It not only improves worker safety and productivity but also saves cost in the long run. Last year, civil engineering industry tasted success with many iterations of bricklaying robots that illustrated efficiency by building walls 6 times faster than human works. However, the immediate challenge with robotics is the initial cost, feasibility of mass application, and reliability. Said that with continuous improvement in the robotic technology, we can expect to see robots taking over the mundane tasks in construction and civil engineering in the future. Now, this is an example. If we are in touch with the new technologies, if we are applying these things, then we can go to even the international market. so that we can be consultant with the international. So actually the engineers, the operating point should be changed. We should not be the technologists. We should have something new. So we should show that the the complex engineering solution for complex engineering problems by using the new technologies and the science. So if we can show these things, then we can do so many things. So actually the engineering council, you know everybody engineering council. So we are going to define the competencies of the engineers, chartered engineers, these levels. Then they have to operate in that level, and we can insist the policy decision makers to give opportunity to our engineers to operate in the engineer level. So give them to do the very complex designs, maybe with the foreigners. Now actually we are doing the turnkey projects. This turnkey project we don't get anything. They are getting the experience. But if we get the experience, then we can be the international consultants. Then we will get lot of jobs there. Then we don't want to fight the existing jobs in the country. This is global market. So therefore, if we update our knowledge and use these things, then we can be very competent engineers. So that's why the continuing professional development is very, very important. These are continuing professional development. This world is changing very fast. Technology is changing very fast. We have to update these things. Not only updating, apply these things. So this is the message I want to give under this information and communication technology. Now I have taken the civil engineering as an example, but not only the civil engineering, other areas also you can see new technologies can be used. So in the ICT we are expecting that part. So if you have any question, you can ask me. Some kind of eye-opening. Now cream of the A-level maths students are going to engineering faculties. So we are not harnessing their knowledge and skills and the competencies. So we have to think in a different way, and you can do marvelous things if you use our knowledge. Think in a different way. Don't be in the comfort zone. Always update your knowledge and apply those things. You don't want to do the same circulars available in the department or in your company. You have the authority to change these things from time to time. You have different forums. You can raise your voice in these different forums. This new technology has come. We want to apply these things. We want to apply the drones for these things. So they have to allocate money for the next year for that one. Then, so likewise, you have everybody has I think annual business plans. So you are the people discussing those things. Then you can suggest to do these things. Right? So this is the message I want to give, and I think you get some idea. And don't stop after the B paper. Continue these things. Do the continuous professional development. Then you can be a very competent engineer. The most probably next 5 years, 10 years will be very very important for the whole country, because I think economically also we are in a very bad situation. But if we get together, we can success in this one. In that case, our engineers have a big part to do. So you should do the innovations. You should suggest how to reduce the cost. Say the work from home. This is the method we apply. From this one we can save this much of cost. So we can do a lot of things to the society. Then automatically respect will come to the engineers. Right? Think in that way and work as engineers. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much. If you have a question, you can ask me from after this also. Okay.